Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Ace. I'm glad that you can be here today. I am freezing. I don't know what the deal is. Just like super, super cold. Like wrapped up in my blanket because um, I don't want to put a sweater on because just I don't want my arms to be covered like that. I don't know. Does that make sense? It's a texture thing today. Today it's a texture thing, so I'm in my blinky. Um, and then yeah. Well, welcome in. Today we are going to be working on my book. We are going to finish chapter 2 today. It's gonna happen. Like if we don't finish chapter 2 this hour, I'm gonna lose it. um, because I've been stuck on chapter 2 for a while. So we're finishing chapter 2 today, and then probably starting chapter 3. I'm hoping. Um, but yeah, let's get into it. So, last time if you're new and you don't know what the book is about, I encourage you to watch my other videos. But I'll give you a quick recap. Essentially, Fia and her roommate, um, Anya or Enya, you can say it either way, really. They are at a D&D conference in Ireland, and they're very excited, and they've met some other people that they were excited to meet, and now they are all cosplayed up on a bus, going to a nearby abbey to check that out, do some sightseeing. Um, and so one of the characters, Robert, is talking to Fia, and they're just kind of getting to know each other a little bit on this trip. So let's jump into it. I'll share my screen. Inception. There we go. Share the screen. Okay, so they are on the bus. Um, he's asking her questions. The ride is very short, so Robert wants to jump right in there. Um, so she lets him know she's an only child, adopted. He has siblings, an older brother and a younger sister. Um, he asks about her biological family, and she doesn't have any idea about her biological family. So he is going to respond. Oh, so cold. You know when you're at the computer and it's cold and your mouse hand gets really like frozen because it's out in the air. You get those like special gloves to help with that. Something. Anyway, I don't know anything about my biological family except they were from Ireland because that's where I was found. Um, maybe one day I'll figure it all out. However, I have wonderful so to it. Um, let's see. What's his response going to be? Know anything about my biological family? Maybe one day I'll figure it out. However, she has wonderful parents, so she doesn't feel the need to really look into it. I think instead of a response, I'll just skip. Cut scene, skip. Um, see if wonderful parents. Yeah, and continue to chat. Doesn't until arriving at the um it's called the Kyle Moore Abbey. And yes, the Kylemore Abbey is a real place. I wanted a real place because like I said before, I wanted it to feel like you could actually go there. Um, at least to this part in the book. There are other parts in the book where you cannot go there unless, well, you'll figure it out. Okay, so pleasantly about each other's lives until arriving at the Kylemore Abbey. The interesting group. What is the word that I'm looking for? Not departs. Maybe disembarks. And chat pleasantly with each other's lives until arriving at the Kylemore Abbey. I'm going to say actually, once off the bus, the group certainly stands out with all of their fantasy regalia on display. That is not how you spell regalia. On display. Okay. Once off the bus, they stand out. A slightly older man who was on the bus goes to speak to someone inside, and make sure everything is good to go. He returns with I'm trying to remember if Kylemore Abbey actually has nuns. Should we look it up? It's actually. Come on. Come on. There we go. Nope. It's not what I want. There we go. Okay, so Kylemore Abbey. It's still only half size, isn't it? Doing that. Okay. So this is Kylemore Abbey. Come on. About Frozen. I don't know. My computer is weird sometimes. This is Kylemore Abbey, which is absolutely gorgeous. Of course, you can't. But is absolutely gorgeous, and I myself would love to visit it one day. Oh, there's a church webcam. Yeah, so there are nuns there. That's wonderful. Okay. And let's see here. Back menu. Let's look at the gallery. Look how beautiful that is. How pretty. Our adventuring party is going to be exploring the trails, the gardens. That's so pretty. Look at it. Ah. The closest thing that I have here in the US is on the East Coast. I am on the West Coast. That's the closest we have, and even that does not compare to Europe. So love that. Okay, enough of that. I'm really tempted to just like pull up Expedia and buy a ticket. My husband would kill me, but I mean, the Abbey. Okay, there we go. See and do. Yeah, lots of things to see and do. Be really neat to stay there. I don't know if you can stay there actually, but to visit at least would be fun. Just look at this. It's so pretty. Okay. Back to the book. Focus. All right. So he returns with, let's say, a nun with a small woman dressed in nunnery. Is that? How would you describe how a nun is dressed? We would just say dressed as a nun. Dressed as a nun. She offers a warm smile and lets you know that you are free to roam about the grounds and take in the trails, gardens, and history of the property. History of the property. My nose itches. Is that the end of this chapter? I'm gonna exit that from my notes. Notes. There are my notes. Okay. Where are we at here? Conference. They were on the bus and they got to know each other. Oh, we haven't met Soren yet. We must meet Soren. Okay, so they are still at the conference. Do I have this? I do. I have that redacted. Undo. Okay. I'm actually, I think, just going to copy this and tweak it a little bit. So the group splits off. Did I not? I really need more coffee this morning. I've only had one cup. The group splits off and Robert, Ronnie, Enya, Jasper, and Mia are the only ones left standing by the bus. Okay, so they are all together. Let's see here. They're all together. Ronnie's gonna speak. He's gonna say, we could explore. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna paste that. So this I'm gonna make paragraph. I'm gonna make that, I think it's double space. No, we are not in double space. We're in the 1.5, which is what I thought. Go with your instincts when in doubt. Nope, still not the right one. Gosh dang it. Seriously. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Ronnie. Let's see. I'm gonna, there. You could explore the trails and see some of the beautiful nature that surrounds the abbey. It would make for, oh, he's all about music, so it would definitely inspire some, and then, so it would be definitely inspire some music in me. The group agrees, and they pick a trail that looks enchanting according to Enya. Okay. So they're on the trail now. They're exploring. Along the trail, they see many flora and fauna. Flora and fauna. Of colors and shapes. Colors and shapes. Eventually, they get to an area of the trail with, let's say that's a bit more open and has a few benches around. Jasper and Enya, we're gonna say they're linked arm in arm. Take a seat at one. Robert offers the other bench to Fia. However, Fia is distracted as she spots an older gentleman. Okay, so she spots an older gentleman tending to the landscape. And let's say she approaches us and she decides to approach him. All right, so she is now going to bump into Soren here. She will say something like, hello. You're taking excellent care of the plants. Plants here. Have you been at the Abbey long? Long. Yes. Yeah. The old man turns around and a glint of recognition in his eyes. No, I don't want that. Let's see. Loman turns around and looks at Fia for a moment. For a moment. I'll say looks at Fia and for a moment looks surprised. He's gonna say, "Ah, yes, my lady. I have been at the Abbey for quite some time. I enjoy looking for the plants and frequent the okay. Brain. Gardens. My name is Soren. What might your name? My name is Fia, and these are my she'll say friends, even though she's not friends with all of them. My friends. We are visiting the Abbey as part of our Dungeons and Dragons conference. And then I'm gonna say at this point, her friends hear her and make their way over to meet Soren. Okay, so they are gonna go meet Soren. I'm gonna save this. And I did want to show you what Soren looks like. Soren. So they are meeting this person. This is Soren. He's the old groundskeeper, and that is what he looks like. He's got white beard, mustache, white hair. He's in pretty plain Irish clothing, And yeah, he's just tending to the landscaping. Pretty nice, sweet old man. And that's Soren. There he is. Move him over just. There he is. So that's who she is chatting with. And then I think Soren's gonna say Dungeons and Dragons. He's an old man, so in Ireland, so he doesn't really know much about, he wouldn't know much about Dungeons and Dragons. Friends hear her make the way over. Dragons, you say. That sounds rather magical. Then he'll say something to you better be careful then of the fairies here at the Abbey. They like to play tricks on guests. Tricks on guests. Says Soren. Everyone laughs at his joke, but Fia doesn't. And looks at Soren with a. She's going to say something about fairies, and everyone's going to laugh. She's going to look at him with a, what would the word be for that? With a, maybe like intrigued look, with a, look. As she looks at him, he turns to look at her and says, accept the quest and roll for initiative. Okay. As she looks at him, sorry, just got a work text. I hate it. I hate it when you get texts on your day off about work. It's okay. I'm not gonna look at it right now. As she looks at him, he turns to look at her. As she looks at him, he turns to look at her and says, accept the quest and roll for initiative. What? Replies. Gosh dang it. Replies. Yeah. You should be careful when exploring the grounds. Replies Soren. No one seems to have noticed the odd saying, so Fia chalks it up to her imagination. Okay, so he says something, and they move on. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, where are we at here? Next paragraph. As the group continues, well, let's say they all thank him and continue down the trail. As they continue, Fia falls behind as she gets lost in her thoughts. So she gets lost in her thoughts. As she is thinking, she starts to hear a beautiful song on the wind. And she stops to listen. Let's do that. Beautiful song on the wind, that of a pan flute with merry laughing and whispers. Let's see, laughing and whispers. She stops to listen to gauge the direction of the music before heading off that way. Okay, so she's got the music. Okay, file, save. Let me go to my notes because I want to. I'm gonna erase this. We're gonna be done with that. And I think we don't need our notes anymore. So we're gonna exit out of this too. Okay. So before heading off that way. So also listen to gauge the direction of the music before heading off that way. The group continues on until Robert notices that Fia is no longer with them. Did anyone see where Fia went? He asked. Okay. Did anybody see where Fia went? He asks. Let's see. Jasper and Ronnie, who have been arguing. Who knows what they were arguing about? They don't like each other, so it could be anything really. Been arguing, stop and look around. No, she was just right here. Here, Ronnie responds. Okay, so they are. I'm kind of changing this a little bit, just notes. Then Robert looks around but can't find Fia anywhere. Robert looks around but can't find where. As he looks, he makes eye contact with Soren. Soren says to him from the distance. Soren says to him from across the way. He says, what does he say? The fairies have her now. Okay. The fairies have her now. Meanwhile, follows the song music to a beautiful, I'll say willow tree that seems to be glowing blue and purple. It's glowing blue and purple. Music coming from it. If you know anything about the Fae, you might know where this might be going. Glowing blue and purple. Yeah. Seems to not be able to stop moving towards it. She reaches out her hand to touch the tree. Yeah, she reaches out to touch the tree. And because then what they hear next is a scream. There's a scream, and Robert and the others, I'm going to say the others follow the sound to the tree where they see a bright white light in the center. Okay, so she touched the tree. There was a scream. They go to the tree. Now there's a bright white light in the center. You should be, hopefully you know what that means. But Soren follows and tells them not to go in. Okay, so there is a scream. Reaches out her hand to touch the tree. The scream and others follow the sound. Let's see. There is a scream. And Robert says, did you hear that? It sounded like... Yeah. He takes off in that direction, and the others follow. I'm going to say that. The others follow. They arrive in front of the tree. They see a bright light in the center. Soren comes through the foliage and tells them not to go in. The wind has picked up around where they are, even though there is no wind back on the trail. And then we're going to say Enya suddenly hears Thea's voice pleading for help, and dog hair on me that tickles. And without hesitating, she charges in. All right, so she's gonna charge in after her best friend. Robert quickly follows her. Follows her as well. Let's say Ronnie and Jasper. Let's say Ronnie quickly goes as well until it's only Jasper left. Jasper and Soren. Soren left. Soren tells Jasper he'll see him on the other side and steps into the light. So Soren's gonna go in. I think Jasper's gonna be last because he's not the bravest. He's very arrogant and not the bravest. You're supposed to not really like Jasper. For right now. Soren just on their side. Jasper paces for a minute and tries to verbally convince himself. Let's see, convince himself. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Jasper paces for a minute and tries to verbally convince himself to turn back before jumping into the light as well. As soon as he does, the light closes and the tree and we'll say and the wind stops. Wind stops. It looks like a peaceful part of the Abbey once again with no trace of our adventures. Okay, that is the end of chapter 2. We did it. Yay. We did it. The end of chapter 2. Perfecto. All right, next is going to be chapter 3. So we'll just put the title on there. Chapter 3. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet. I have some on my notes, but I'm not going to open those again. Safe. Okay. So yeah, that is where we'll leave it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't pick that up, that was a portal that they went through, then I'm telling you now, they went through a portal. A magical portal from a tree. And yeah, I guess we'll see where they end up and what happens to them when they get there. I think this next chapter is going to be one of my favorites because it's kind of got a fun dynamic to it. Right now, if you'll remember, they're all um, cosplayed as different characters, and so we'll see how that plays into. Because I said it was going to be important, so it is going to be important. Um, but yeah, let's see, what can we do here? I think it could go on and on, but we're ending a little bit early, which is fine. I don't mind ending early. Because I don't want to start a new chapter and then, there's, yeah, I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and find someone to raid into. It says I've never actually raided into any channels before, so let's see. Anybody I know? Anybody I follow is let's there's so many things I still need to learn on Twitch. That's okay. I will get there, and I am just focused on cultivating joy right now. And so that is going to be just fine. And it's going to be great. And we're going to find someone in just a minute. Do, 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 do. Little singing for you guys. Let's see here. We go to this. And let's go to catchy cantrips is they're pretty good. I like them. Let's do that. Let us do that. So my phone will cooperate. For some reason it's easier on my phone places, but that's fine. Okay, we'll see if it does it. We'll see if it will actually do it. Yes. All right, here we go. Bye everybody. Thank you.